we pledge to inform with candor and fairness, to entertain with dignity and good taste, to serve with vigor the needs and the welfare of the people of South Florida and our country, and above all, to conduct ourselves as befits an invited guest in the homes of our viewers.
Good afternoon. I'm Gordon Shaw, and here is the news. A new television service to South Florida viewers was begun at noon today. At that hour, WCKT began permanent programming.
Good evening. I'm Wayne Ferris, and you have just witnessed a scene from the past, the birth of a television station. 10 years ago yesterday, on July 29, 1956, WCKT was born to a pledge of public service.
Tonight, our 10 years, a special birthday appraisal of WCKT's decade of service to the community through television.
When Channel 7 signed on 10 years ago, it was a major community event. It signaled a new era of television in South Florida, a sign that the area was growing up. But a TV station is not just a business venture. It's a commitment to ideals, quality standards, and responsibilities. It's significant that the first program broadcast from this studio was a news program. For news is the community's vital grapevine by which its citizens communicate their needs, their problems, their triumphs, and tragedies. In a moment, our 10 years of progress. WCKT television is uniquely located to open a window on South Florida. It was built with room to grow and with a twofold purpose: responsibility and responsive service to community needs. A television station is something new, a child of the space age. An island was developed beside the 79th Street Causeway for the purpose of building a broadcasting facility to be proud of, one that would provide the modern capacity for service demanded. WCKT is all television station, the first in Florida to be built from the ground up. We also like to think it's the most beautiful, a unique expression of the subtropical character of our viewing area set in the middle of Biscayne Bay. This modern studio facility was the beginning of many firsts. In July 1962, WCKT established the first remote facility in neighboring Fort Lauderdale to better serve Broward County, that growing segment of our viewing area. In August 1963, my 6 o'clock report became the first local news program to expand to a full half hour. WCKT pioneered the use of electronic computers for election returns and initiated new techniques of election analysis, including the use of political analysts. And on December 27, 1965, WCKT became the first Miami station to telecast in live color, making us first with full color capability, including network, film, and videotape facilities. But it takes more than technical achievement to live up to the creed that stresses a vigorous public service. And if proof is measured in recognition, then the evidence is WCKT's many awards and honors, including 31 major national awards presented to WCKT during the last decade for achievements in news, documentary, and public affairs programming. In August 1957, Channel 7 produced its first news film documentary, The Whispered Menace. It was a bold adventure for a station only a year old, for it dealt with the dark world of homosexuality and the sexual psychopath. But this first television exposure of the problem was designed to shed light on a taboo subject. The Whispered Menace hit its mark and won important national recognition, a Radio and Television News Director Association News Award. The Whispered Menace also set the pattern for future Channel 7 documentary programs, factual, frank, uncompromising appraisals of South Florida's most critical problems. In 1960, WCKT won the coveted George Foster Peabody Award for responsive leadership in public service in the prompt analysis and exposure of problems incident to the Cuban crisis. We remain the only Florida media to win a Peabody. In 1961, the Atlanta chapter of Sigma Delta Chi presented WCKT with its regional Green Eyeshade Award for outstanding achievement in reporting for exposure of Miami slum conditions. WCKT also holds 2 George Washington Honor Medals. They were awarded by the Freedoms Foundation at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania in 1961 and again in 1963 for outstanding achievement in bringing about a better understanding of the American way of life. For 3 consecutive years, 1964, 65, and 66, the National Conference of Christians and Jews has honored WCKT with its Mass Media Award. On each occasion, WCKT was cited for outstanding contribution to better human relations and the cause of brotherhood. Channel 7 also holds a record, 4 consecutive Vigilant Patriot Awards. Every year since 1962, the All-American Conference to Combat Communism in Washington has commended WCKT's outstanding contribution to public awareness and understanding of the communist menace. And in 1966, Channel 7 became the first winner of a major new journalism award, a $1,000 prize from the Scripps Howard Foundation for the best news-related interview on an American TV station. Recognition, of course, does not come to those who pursue the routine. In 1959, when the school integration crisis exploded in Little Rock, Arkansas, Channel 7 newsman Ben Silver was there. Central High School may have been off our regular news beat, but WCKT understood the significance of what was happening there and what might happen here if the full impact of Little Rock escaped the people of Miami. Covering hurricanes is difficult and dangerous, but routine for Channel 7 newsmen who have flown into the eye of many a deadly storm with Navy hurricane hunters. It's even more treacherous on the ground. But we've never lost a man yet, although our reporters stay with the storm for as long as Florida is threatened. Tracking hurricanes also means keeping the public fully informed. As the storm approaches, WCKT preempts its regular programming schedule to become a community clearinghouse for weather, evacuation, and storm safety information.
I'm Wayne Ferris, and I'm standing just outside the Golden Triangle, the heart of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
In 1960, I traveled to 3 northern cities, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and New York, to find out what tourists thought of South Florida. The result was an hour-long critique of our tourist industry entitled The Yankee Dollar. In 1961, we traveled to Philadelphia, where Channel 7 newsman Wilson Griffith filmed that city's progress in slum clearance. In this way, a valuable dimension was added to a documentary series on local slum problems entitled Miami Condemned, a series that won the Green Eyeshade Award. In 1962, we tackled South Florida's transportation problem. I rode the monorail in Dallas while other Channel 7 newsmen explored rapid transit developments in Houston, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Toronto, Canada. The result was a documentary, Come Ride With Me. Our newsmen have covered some of the major news stories of recent times, like the Yarmouth Castle ship fire that took 89 lives off the Bahamas in November 1965. There have also been more pleasant reporting trips, like the opening of the Florida Pavilion at the New York World's Fair, but always with an eye toward those events that directly relate to South Florida. But even this was not a simple sightseeing excursion, as civil rights pickets jammed the Florida exhibit. Police were called to disperse the demonstrators, and a cold rain added to the last dismal touch.
This is Ira Eisenberg at the World's Fair, reporting for WCKT and wishing I was home.
WCKT's service goes beyond its borders. Our newsmen have visited 5 continents and dozens of foreign countries to make the world more understandable to our viewers.